I'm pretty stoked. On the same day that I finished up my video on sheet metal valve cover restoration for the Y-Block Ford V8, Real Gaskets, Tennessee sent me prototypes of a silicone gasket for the valley pan, the push rod cover to test out. I sent them a brand new gasket, a cork one, basically to copy and mimic, and then also a set of valve cover gaskets. Now, these are both made of silicone, and if you guys know, Real Gaskets Tennessee already has an oil pan gasket for the Y-Block. Ted Eaton's tested it out. It works great. I've got one as well. Some of you guys have ordered it, but what we're trying to do is just push for more parts. I'm glad these guys are doing it. I have no idea what these will cost. Just to be frank, these are the only ones that I know of that exist. They want me to test these out. We'll see how they work here on the 292. And yes, I am pretty excited. We've got the push rod cover, otherwise known as a valley pan for the Y-Block. This gasket made entirely of silicone from Real Gaskets, Tennessee. It's 1/8 of an inch thick. Now, I have tested the valve cover gaskets. They work great. I got a separate video for that. I'll put a link in the description for you. But we are going to test this out on a block that I have that we can get around all the edges. It's just a bare block. I've got a valley pan I want to show you as well. And this is the valley pan in question. Now, if you know anything about the Y-Block Ford, this does not look like your typical Ford valley pan. This has been fabricated by Felix Natoli up in New England. You can tell it's got the provision here, the baffle for the original style of rear breather. You've got pretty much everything laid out. It's a little heavier than the normal valley pan, but that's to keep it from warping. We're going to take a look at this as well with our new silicone gasket from Real Gaskets, Tennessee on this bare block. This one here is made specifically for a 2x4 setup. Now, Felix told me this is technically for the 1956, really a copy of what Ford put out, I believe, mid-year, and that dealer package you could get over the counter with the two Holley 4000s. And it came with a valley pan like this because that intake manifold sits so much lower than your normal intake manifolds for the Y-Block. Of course, the 57 has a little depression in it here that takes care of the clearance, and that's fine. But this will work for a 56 or 57 manifold, and I have a 57 manifold I want to put in my 342 cubic inch Y-Block build. So I bought this from Felix. I'll leave a link in the description for this valley pan as well. Let's get to it and test out this gasket. Okay, I've got a 272 bare block here we're going to be using, and this way we can get all the way around. You can get a good view of how that gasket's going to lay right on top of the edges there of the block, and then of course how the valley pan seals up as well. Something else I'm going to do too, you can see the bosses there, the threads, the hole for the two bolts. I want to make sure those are cleaned out really well, and I'm going to use some brake cleaner and even a chase, just a thread chaser, just to make sure we're completely clean so that I don't get any kind of weird reading on a torque spec. Thread chaser, not a tap. It's spinning pretty good. Pretty clean threads right there. Matter of fact, that's all that came out of there, so brake clean must have cleaned it all pretty good. Do the rear hole. It's been spinning pretty good just by hand too, so. Just to be sure. Better safe than sorry. Okay, so the first test is just to lay this down. This is supposed to be installed dry. You guys watched the valve cover test. I had to put some RTV or a little bit of silicone just to get it to where I could hold that valve cover where the gasket would not drop off. So we'll take a look at this a little bit closer, but it looks like it has pretty good coverage. Then we get our valley pan in position and see how it fits. Now remember the advantage to silicone over cork. It's going to seal better, last longer. It's removable, reusable. You can clean it with soap and water. I even put RTV silicone just to use it on the top edge if I'm doing valve covers. And once you take the gasket off, you can clean it with soap and water and just peel the RTV off of the silicone gasket itself. It works really well. This is lining up pretty good. I'm going to make sure our holes are centered. I'll just show you here. See that hole through there? That one is blind, so it doesn't go all the way through. But so far so good on this one. All right, so next up is our grommets and our bolts here. And get those started. And the idea on the instructions, here's the instructions right here. You can see it reads torque to 20 to 25 inch-pounds. Do not over tighten. And the issue that says it makes the gasket bulge or squeeze out. We're going to test that. Ford actually goes to 30 inch-pounds, which would be 2.5 foot-pounds. And that's what we're going to set this to. We're just going to test this gasket out, see if it will take Ford spec. Now this is a kind of a deal. We're going to put this gasket through its paces. We know the gaskets seal well on the valve cover, so I don't think there's any kind of issue with this sealing it with the valley pan at all. It's probably going to be just fine. I'm going to run this on my 342, by the way. But I do want to see about the torque specifications. We're going to crank up our torque wrench here to 30 foot-pounds. There is 30. So of course, you really got to be careful with this because you got to feel that click. Something so small with the torque specification. These things are easy. Ford's original valley pans are really easy to turn into bananas. Right there yet. And there we go. 30 inch-pounds here in the back. And there we go, 30 up front. And let's check out our gasket here all the way around. Now, I really don't see any bulging anywhere, as far as I can tell. Sealing up pretty good. I can't move the gasket, can't push it in. That means that we got a good seal right there. The whole, the metal to metal, we're tight everywhere. If there's any place I can push it in, I know we got a problem. But I don't see any bulging, and that's what really a concern was. But that's pretty good. One thing to note on this install that I'm finding out, I probably should have come forward a little bit here with the gasket. You can have a witness mark where you can see the former valley pan gasket was at. I wasn't paying attention to that because got a little bit of overlap towards the back. I don't think it's going to be a huge issue, but you do want to make sure it's centered top and bottom here as you look at the front of the block so that you don't go too far over the back. But this is looking pretty good right here. I'm pretty happy with it. And this valley pan here is pretty nice. Now, I have torqued this to Ford's highest spec of 30 inch-pounds. I'm going to get a straight edge on top of this piece of sheet metal just to look and see about this fabrication. Now that we've torqued it down, what are we looking at here? Has this given any in the middle? All right, with the straight edge here, I should have gotten feeler gauges out, but since we have sunlight, you can tell I've got a little bit of give in the center. And that's probably all I want to go with this. Obviously, the outside edges are what's sealing, but you can see that there, Ford's high spec of 30 inch-pounds. Around the edges, we're fine. We'll go up here and maybe see how far we are. Left to right, Actually, we're looking pretty good right there. Can't see any daylight at all. Look up top here. See a little bit right there. Go down far enough. There you go. See, it's given a little bit. I don't want to go beyond 30 inch-pounds in Ford's original spec for the valley pans at all, because that's what causes the warpages with these suckers. So the silicone gasket is going to be nice for those of us that run Y blocks. Guys, that's a wrap today on this push rod cover gasket from Real Gaskets, Tennessee. I'll leave a link in the description as soon as these guys make it available to us. They're just kind of waiting on me to test these things out for fitment and all the rest of it. If you haven't seen it yet, watch the valve cover gasket video that shows the install, running it on the car, all the rest of that. I really think this gasket here is going to be just great. Don't over torque your valley pan. Be very careful about that. Also, before install, make sure your valley pan is as square and as straight as possible. That's going to be a real big issue. I think the main reason guys over torque the valley pan is because the threads in the valley pan itself that hold your two bolts, if they're not clean, then you're going to get the wrong reading on your torque. And we're talking about 30 inch-pounds and no more. So guys, we'll see you on the next one. Thanks for joining us here at Hot Rod Reverend. Visit hotrodreverend.com. Find out why I have the name Hot Rod Reverend. A lot of articles there, a blog on the 1955 Ford Fairlane Club sedan I've owned since I was 16. A lot of stuff in there about what I do and my calling in life to preach the gospel of Jesus Christ. I'm glad and privileged that you joined us today. God bless you.